What's that going to be? What would you like to be today?
Yeah. The first question is how to do the things immediately rather just think about it all the time. I mean, there are something, a lot of things I want to do and I need to do, but I just used to think of it but forget to do it, and then I just stuck in the thinking. So my question is how to maybe more do, I mean, more like do actions, not just thinking.
Can you give me a recent example of something that you kept thinking of to do, but you didn't take action on? That's an example of that.
Like I want to go the places with my friends, to seek some, I don't know, just maybe to see some things, but I just delay it, again, maybe because some maybe one, like the excuse is like maybe the weather is too hot, or oh, I'm too tired today. It's like it,
So you're thinking of you'd like to do something with your friend, and
yeah.
And probably you would need to call your friend and ask if they're available if you did that. But instead, you think the weather's too hot, or maybe do you make that choice because something else is more attractive in that moment, or that it seems too unattractive, or that you can find out you can think of the cost of doing that in that moment?
No, I just at that moment I don't have that desire to do the things I want to do, so I just maybe I can do it later. Just yeah.
It reminds me a little bit about how I'm sort of a homebody. When I'm settled in my home, I just like to, I can always, many things are interesting to do in my home, comfortable. But yet, in general, I know if I'll take some time and say, get dressed, go out in the street, do some things that I'll be happy that I did that later, or when I'm actually doing it, I'm happy to be doing it. But there's that. Do you know the word inertia? Inertia. It's spelled I-N-E-R-T-I-A. Okay, inertia.
Yeah.
It means the tendency to continue in the same way that you are,
Yeah.
There's a certain inertia to continue, even though you may even know that you like it better if you did something else. And so it's also a little bit like when I first wake up in the morning, you could say I don't want to get out of bed, but if I get out of bed 5 minutes later, I'm glad I'm out of bed. So I actually have an agreement between my Dwight now and my Dwight next to say, okay, get out of bed for 5 minutes. If after 5 minutes you want to get back in bed, it's okay. But so Dwight now is willing to agree to 5 minutes, but then later, almost always he doesn't want to get back in bed. So my now and my next are both happy. So maybe is it a little bit like that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So maybe hey, if you just call up your friend and ask them, and they say, yeah, let's get together, and you make a plan, then you're happy, right? And you do it.
Yeah.
So could you have maybe an agreement between your Riki now and Riki next to say, okay, call up your friend. You could even say to your friend, hey, I got a fight inside of me. There's Riki A, Riki B, and they're fighting about whether they should ask you to go out with me. But then by then you're probably so yeah, let's go out together, And
Yeah.
what do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think that would work or
Yeah,
not?
I think yeah, I know. I will, I know I often forgot about the Ricky now. I just or Ricky next. I forgot that part. Yeah. Maybe I need to write down or do something. Yeah. I know.
Now, when you were speaking about the problem earlier, I mean, sometimes I think of doing something and I think maybe I should put it on a list to do it later. But if it's something that takes less than 2 minutes and maybe I can just do it right now. I don't even put it on a list. I just do it because it only takes 2 minutes or less, you know? But sometimes I think of doing something and I want to do it, but I'm doing something else. It doesn't make sense to do it now, right?
Yeah.
But I do know I can forget about it. So,
Yeah.
so I have a habit to put it on a special list so that I'll see it later at a certain point, you know, and then I can make a fresh decision. Well, am I going to do that today or decide again in the future whether I'm going to do that? And because yes, Vicky, there are all these things that you want to do, but you probably can't do them all. You're like the
Yeah.
rest of us. You only have 168 hours in a week,
Yeah.
and but it's a great big buffet to choose from.
Yeah. Right.
Another way to do these things is to make plans in advance. Like you can make a plan in advance to say to do something in 2 days from now with your friend and actually make it an appointment. So maybe in the 2 days from now, you might not have been in the mood, but because you planned it, right, and you have this agreement, I mean, sure, you could
Yeah.
cancel it, but probably you won't. And you'll go out with your friend and you'll have a great time.
Yeah.
But could that work also?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. I
So thinking back over the original problem and looking, putting these new ideas into place to the extent you think they'll work. Does anything else seem problematic about this?
Okay. Yeah. I just what sorry I
Okay.
didn't get it.
So you stated the original problem, which you think of these things and to do, and you really like to do them, but you, I don't know, maybe you just don't feel like it in the moment, or some other reason why you're not doing them. So have we solved that problem fully or not for this video tonight?
Yeah.
And focus on why.
Yeah. I like when I decide not to do the things at that moment, I would think like, oh, maybe I just imagine that maybe they are not fun, and or I just according the lost experience with my friend, maybe it's not good, so I don't want to do it again. Like, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's that part of us that that's looking at the possible downside, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That could be an important thing to consider. Um, Yet you need to recognize that there's always possible downsides to anything, including downside of not doing anything, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
can't think of anything really without a downside, so I'll just sit here. But that could be the biggest downside of all, right?
Yeah. 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 Right.
I'm in this new city, and I was walking around, and I was looking for a place to eat, to get some food, and finally I decided on a place, and I ordered some food. I mean, I looked around at different people, what they were eating, and I pointed out one of the things, you know, and well, it turned out I really didn't like it very much.
Mm-hmm.
But I always know in a lot of cases I'm experimenting, right? And when
Yeah.
you're experimenting, that means the experiment could turn out, no, not going to do this one again.
Yeah.
At least, but because I'm willing to experiment, I know that I do discover all sorts of great new things that most people never discover because they don't
Yeah.
they don't experiment, you know. And it's not a big deal. I mean, it's like, okay, I didn't finish the meal and it only cost God $2. So uh, uh, and I got another bite to something else to eat a little bit later, and it wasn't a big deal. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
doing these experiments, you want to try to make sure that if it doesn't turn out, that it's really it's not a big deal. I mean,
Oh,
so maybe you didn't have as good a time with your friend last time. So maybe you do a little bit more planning about, okay, well, how can I do it differently this time? So it's much more likely that my friend and I are going to have a good time. Or you might even have a
oh,
partnership conversation. We remember the partnership conversation idea. You might even have a partnership
yeah. Yeah.
conversation about, hey, um, I don't know about you, but last time it wasn't so. I mean, my friendship's important to you, but it wasn't so fun last time. What can we do different so that we're going to have a great time together this time?
Yeah. 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 It's great idea. Yeah.
So a lot of it's not just what you choose, but how you implement it.
Mm-hmm.
People think the choice is so important. Yeah, the choice is important, but how you implement it is often even more important.
Oh, yeah.
This idea, oh, I got to choose the right man to be with for the rest of your life. Yeah, that is a big, yeah, you need to take some time if you're going to consider with being with somebody a long time, right? But
Yeah.
after you've made the choice, then you how are you going to implement it? How are you going to, because you can even choose the best man in the world or the best woman in the world, and you implement it badly, it could have been almost like choosing the worst man or worst woman, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
They have an interesting expression in Japan. I'm not sure I agree with this expression, but it's like before you get married, choose a man, keep your eyes wide open. After you get married,
Uh-huh.
close them halfway. Like, uh, so what do you think, Ricky?
Yeah. 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 No, I see. Yeah. I think it solved my problem. Well, yeah.
All right, great. So let me fix this up.
Mhm.